Tonight's vehicle is a 2006 BMW 525, and the customer's complaint is related to transmission problems. He's got transmission error lights coming on, and it seems to be in a fail-safe mode, so not sure if it's in second gear or whatnot. It does drive and move, it just doesn't shift properly, it doesn't drive correctly as far as the gears. But nonetheless, we will scan it, see what's wrong with it, and see what we can find. So as you can see, it actually has the kind of dreaded red gear light that BMWs are known to have when there's transmission problems. And as far as trouble code, obviously we are interested in the EGS. So here we go. Electronic pressure control valve 2, and it's currently present. So looks like we are dealing with not necessarily a slipping clutch type of problem in the tranny, but an actual, looks like a pressure control solenoid. Okay, so realistically, this is actually a spare valve body that I've got, and for a ZF transmission. And these are the solenoids that are in the transmission. I know potentially that maybe for some of you out there, you've seen more often than I have solenoid problems. I've actually only had one prior to this. This would be my second vehicle with the solenoid code. And I actually used this same spare valve body. This is the one I used previously, but there's really not much to it. You got to gain access to the valve body, test the solenoid, and most likely it's going to be shorted. And oddly enough, I believe this is the number 2 pressure control one, which seems to be the one that failed on the previous one, because that's the one I robbed. But it should be the same as these two here. But first things first, we got to drop that valve body. Take a look at the solenoid number 2. It's easy enough to get an ohm reading and compare all the ones on the car, and then compare these. These I checked previously. They are all good within spec. All of these are supposed to be 5 ohms or close to it. This one I believe is a 10 ohm. Okay, so we've got the pan down, and this is the whole valve body. Solenoids are here in the back, but this has to be removed in order to replace the solenoids. Okay, obviously we have the valve body out on the bench. The mechatronics is off of it, and I've got the meter just to show you on the valve body I've got there with the solenoids. Hopefully you can see on the meter. There you go, so 5. That's the yellow one. And again, all of those are the same except for the black one, which is 10. And so this is the same style valve body. It's for a manual parking, not an electronic parking, as far as the E shift or manual shift, basically is what they call it. And so this here is the number 2. And I'll get you a shot of this one and then that one. Or I'll do 2 green ones just to satisfy, even though all those are 5. But so we'll start with this. So 5. We'll do a green one here. Again, 5. And now our suspect. And there you go. So 1, 4. It's definitely not where it should be at the 5 range. So what I'm going to do is get one of these known goods, replace it, put it back together. And yes, I know should be doing new this, and that, but due to availability and time constraint, and the fact that I have this here, I personally only seen, again, 2 vehicles now with solenoid problem, with that same number 2 solenoid at that. I feel comfortable installing that one and checking it out, make sure everything's good once it's installed. I, again, personally don't see too many fail. This is the route that I am going to go with to be able to get this vehicle at least done and gone, and to make sure everything is good with the transmission. Now, oddly enough, I did have a newer Acura with the ZF tranny that was a solenoid problem. It was a similar thing to this, where only one was faulty. And I did have to source known good used ones for that one also. That vehicle is still good and running. And also that other one that I did install that solenoid from, that customer is still one that comes here with that vehicle. And there has been no problems with it. So we'll continue on, and then we'll get this put back together. Okay, we're all back together. Faulty one removed. We will now go reinstall this. And quick side note, yes, visually this looks kind of blue, but there is a part number on there. And it is like 959. And there is the 959. So that makes it be the same. And the difference is the way that they flow, almost like a normally open, normally closed type of deal. Either proportional amperage to flow or inverse. So you don't want to have that be mixed up. So these will all flow the same way. This one will flow the same as this. And we should not have any problems. Okay, so I filled it up. And now we will go in and clear the codes and reset adaptations and everything. We should have that error message go away. Okay, so let's look at the report, see if that status changed. And perfect, it did. So it now the mechatronics can see that the solenoid is good, and it changes that to an absent state. And so before resetting everything, I'm just going to quick delete the whole vehicle, and then from there I'll reset everything. Okay, so now we will go ahead and reset the adaptations. Okay. So all back to 0. All right. On drive. Okay. Moving forward, no transmission error lights. Grabs reverse. And we are moving. Okay, we are test driving. And everything's good, no error lights. I'll keep driving it, have it relearn itself. But other than that, that should be good.